Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another BigChange Innovate. This is for Q2. We are a minute early, so if you have joined the Lunch and Learn series, you'll know that I like to get the conversation started in the chat. It seems highly appropriate that I ask something about the football. I know nothing about football, but if you would like to put in the chat what you think the score will be for tonight's game, that would be absolutely fantastic. I have put the odds on the screen, which is coming from Google. Was that score 21-0 to Netherlands? That score of 21 seems exceptionally high. Oh, 2-1, sorry. Yeah, but that probably seems a bit more realistic, I think. Who is watching the match? Probably everybody who is putting into the chat the score is someone who's going to be watching the match. So, yeah, that will be 100% watching the match. Are you finishing early to get to the pub? 100%. Well, okay, I'm too nervous to watch. Yeah, who's playing, Breeze? Yeah, England and Netherlands. I didn't know either until someone told me. But let us make a start, because we are here today to talk about BigChange Innovate. The football, I'm sure we could talk about all day, but we're not necessarily going to. My name is Jonathan Isaacs. I am joined in the meeting we have in the chat. Charlie, Freddie, Katrina, Alikia, Melissa. Do we have Roger? We do have Roger. Andy and Roger don't look like that. I just didn't have a picture of them to hand. So you can use your imagination or look at the to see what they look like. BigChange is a job management software platform. We do a huge amount of things, as you can see on screen. If you are a customer of ours, you are very welcome. But if you are a prospect of ours, you are also more than welcome. We have a huge amount of functionality that you can see on screen. We have over 2,000 customers globally, many of whom who have provided us a case study. So if you are new to BigChange, head over to bigchange.com and you can read the case studies. Hopefully your screen will look something like this. At the top, there are a couple of icons. There is the chat, there is the Q&A, and the product team will be monitoring the Q&A and answering any questions that pop in. There is a react button, so if you love something, you can give it a heart, a thumbs up, you can clap. If you're shocked about some development, you can also use the emotion on the far right-hand side, and there might be some things that you want to use that for at the end, because we have some groundbreaking, fantastic technology that I'm really excited to show you coming up. Don't use the raise hand button. It doesn't do anything. As with all Teams conversations where the chat is there, don't put anything in the chat that you don't want everybody to see, such as your mother's maiden name, username, passwords, credit card details. Any credit card details that are entered, Katrina and I, we will go on a spending spree later. So don't put those in unless you really love Katrina and I. So let us jump in. We talked about questions. Put questions in the chat. I will try and do a poll at the end. Teams is not having it at all. So I may well ask you to use the chat functionality to put things in. This is being recorded, as with all of our content, so head over to our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe and bell buttons, and you will be notified when this recording goes live and when other things go live as well. So this is what we have coming up. Hopefully it will be in order. First, we are going to have a look at the items that are in production. These include the new and updated reports and dashboards. We will take a look at data as a service. BigChange Fuel is something that was launched, and I will briefly cover on that. We will have a look at the items that are in closed beta, which includes some new basic invoicing, some new line items, and our REST API. What's coming up is not going to come at these sections, but we will then have a look at open beta, which include things such as purchase invoicing, schedule all, BigChange Express, and you will see for a first time the dashcams that we have coming up. So you might be asking yourself, what is the difference between open beta and closed beta? Well, closed beta are bits of functionality that you need to speak to us to get enabled on your site for us to activate. Do get in touch with your CS manager or through support, or indeed drop into the chat the functionality that you would like to see. And the product managers will pick that up and work with you to get it on your site. Open beta, it is there for you to try right away. There is nothing that you need to do. So I've already gone through the agenda. Let's jump straight in, and we are going to look at standard reports and dashboard updates. So very briefly, there are two ways of getting data visualized in the BigChange system, and they are both exceptionally powerful, but they do different things. The first category is what we call standard reports, and these generally show BigChange data in a table format and can be easily exported into Excel for you to create your own charts and data from. The second category we introduced last year, and they are called dashboards, and they do all of the heavy lifting for you. They take your BigChange data and present them in charts and graphs that can be easily understood to provide actionable insights. If you have not used dashboards yet, and you can see the banner at the top of the screen, you need to have a dashboard license allocated to your BigChange user. And if you need to do that, you can speak to your system administrator. It's a very easy task for them to do this. You simply ask them to go to My Account Administration, find your username, and click on the Edit option. Under that, there are three tabs. The one on the far right is to do with dashboards, and toggle that to the viewer license. Your screen will then change to this particular window. If you don't have any more viewer licenses, do get in contact with your CS rep and they will talk you through the process of getting more allocated to your account. We can't go through all of the dashboards today, but we did do a fantastic webinar which involved Alekia, and that includes all of the dashboards that you have as standard, as well as some new ones. QR code on screen. So let's have a look at the dashboards. The first one is a new group job work progress report. This is for everything that we had in the standard report, but now includes it for group jobs. It shows you the financial position, margins, value by job categories, stage of which they are in progress, and the contacts which have the most financially rewarding jobs against them. As with the other reports, you can apply filters by selecting the filter option in the top right and applying the one that you want. So all of the dashboards are also available in French. So French is your language. You can also play along. We've also made some changes to some standard reports. We have our standard timesheet V2. It looks something like this, where you can apply a date range and other filters as you need them. You can filter this down on a specific resource, a specific group of resources, and also a time frame as well. So when it comes to duration, there are two options. You can either show it for a specific time, so example 11 hours and 30 minutes, or you can have it come across as a decimal, which would be 11.5. And the option of showing the totals can either be on weekly for resources, all or none of them. We have various different columns across this report, which include the start and end times, rates, and included the unrated sections as well. We also showed the absence types and the durations which are taken from them. And as with all of our standard reports, you can export these to Excel, and you can also schedule them to be sent directly to your email on a regular basis. When it comes to timesheet worksheets reports, we've had the worksheet functionality against timesheet activities for a while now, and now we have the ability to see the answers within a report that you can schedule and export, and it's absolutely stunning. So here's the timesheet worksheet report in all of its glory. There are a couple of sections on this. Each section is for a timesheet worksheet that has been completed. So you can see the yellow at the top, which is one worksheet. You can see the orange, and then finally the green. You can change this to a date selection if you wanted to, by going over and marking it on a date. And you can also change the date to rows as well. Finally, exporting and scheduling is exactly the same. So what we see a lot of our customers doing is scheduling those timesheet reports to be sent to them on the last working day of a month, or on a weekly period as needed for them to do their payroll. Rather than having to log in and process the report manually, it's automatically delivered to their inbox for them to process. Next up are two reports that are likely to be of interest for those in the drainage sector or those who carry hazardous waste. We have 2 industry standard job cards which are available included as part of your monthly subscription. If you need these added to your site, speak to your CS rep or get in contact with us via our support channels. The first one is the consignment note, which looks absolutely stunning and can be processed with ease by the drivers on the road. And next we have our waste transfer note. Again, absolutely stunning, contains all of the relevant information for your customers and can be added to your system by getting in contact with your CS rep today. Both of these reports include the associated worksheets that need to be completed. So the worksheets can be added to your jobs, and then out pops the necessary documentation. So if you want any of these, speak to your CS rep today. The next thing that we have in production is version 2 of DAS, and that includes the worksheet data marts. This has been highly requested bit of functionality since we launched DAS last year, and we now have the worksheet data. If you're not too sure what DAS is, it stands for Data as a Service, which is aimed at those with existing data warehouses or in the process of setting one up. There is a huge amount of documentation available. The QR code on screen will take you to our developer website and data dictionary that guides you through the data marts that are available. I am going to try and do a first, which is play a video to you featuring Alicia, which talks you through what DAS is. So let's try and play that.
They say you can't manage what you can't measure. When it comes to business operations, actionable data guides you towards your most important goals. But getting access to accurate measures of productivity, job completion, SLA compliance, first-time fix can be costly and complex. That's where BigChange Data as Service or DAS comes in. It's time to beat farewell to endless struggle to get access to timely data in a workable format. With DAS, large organizations are now in complete control, with direct access to their most important job data to use in their data warehouse. Imagine merging your field service data such as jobs, financials, and GPS location with your own data sources, crafting powerful visualizations that help you identify important trends faster. Built on top of AWS and Snowflake, DAS lets you query vast datasets swiftly, efficiently, and anytime. Say goodbye to the time and cost of custom development and reporting work, and hello to rapidly available strategic insights that guide your business forward, all in a secure, scalable, and flexible environment. Your team can use the BI tools they're already familiar with, from Microsoft Power BI to Looker Studio or Snowsight. Plus, they will appreciate the support from our developer portal, Discord channel, and DAS dictionary. If you're ready to embrace efficiency and harness the full potential of your business intelligence, talk to BigChange about Data as Service.
So that is the video on DAS. Some of you managed to hear it, others not so much, but given that some of you could hear it, that is a good start. But thank you very much to Charlie, who put the link to the video on our YouTube channel if you did manage to, or if you didn't manage to hear it. So as I mentioned, DAS V2 is available and it includes worksheet marts. It's really exciting. So if you are in the market for combining your BigChange data with the other data that you have in your data warehouse, look no further than BigChange DAS. It is available, and if you are interested in more details, speak to your CS rep today. The next one is, again, something that is live now, and it is something that will be of particular interest to the CEOs, CFOs, managers, directors, anyone who is really responsible for putting fuel in your vehicles. So fuel is very expensive. I notice the prices changing all of the time, and personally, it's costing me a fortune, even though I only have one car that I need to look after. For those who are running tens, if not hundreds of vehicles, it's multiplied massively. And fuel could be one of your biggest costs. Perhaps it's second to wages that you have. So we have a solution, and we call it BigChange Fuel. It's available exclusively to BigChange customers, and you might think that you have a fuel card that is already making you great savings, but BigChange Fuel promises to offer you fantastic savings. So Mark Sutton has just put something into the chat. He spoke to them yesterday, and they are now going to save over £400 a week. I didn't pay Mark to write that. But that is absolutely brilliant that we have that live testimonial in the chat. Mark, absolutely amazing. Thank you very much for telling us that. So Mark will know how it works, but for those who don't, BigChange Fuel offers stable wholesale pricing, no card fees, it's tailored solutions and comprehensive protection, ensuring efficient and cost-effective fuel management for all of your business's needs. So that's a lot of words, but what does it actually mean? So stable pricing. The stable pricing is done by using the wholesale price. And a lot of card companies out there increase the margins over time. So you might sign up and have a fantastic rate, but over time, much like credit card companies, that rate progressively gets worse and worse. With BigChange Fuel, we have a fixed pricing structure. So the price that you pay will be a tiny bit different from the wholesale price, regardless of the cost price. So it is fair and competitive. Automatic protection. So all of our customers are automatically protected from fraudulent transactions. There is no card fee. So if you go direct to Right Fuel Card Company, they will charge a card fee. Per card, you will probably be charged between £2 or £3. If you go to Right Fuel Card via BigChange Fuel, you do not pay a card fee. So that could be an instant saving of over £300 a year for a customer with 10 vehicles. That is just on card fees alone. The fuel card usage, we support importing fuel card transactions, and that will allow you to have additional insight into MPG. It will allow you to identify driving behavior patterns and also produce reports on your CO2 emissions. So that is done exceptionally easily from exporting from the Right Fuel Card Company website and importing it into BigChange. For an additional very small fee, you can add to your card, if you want, 24/7 legal protection, and that will give your drivers access to a legal expert on the side of the road if they happen to have an accident. Every fuel type is available, including a mix of fuel. That includes petrol, diesel, and EV. Cards are available with all those fuel types, and regardless of whether you have a mix or just a single fuel type, you get one single invoice, which is easy for you to process. Depending on your status, we offer payment terms, which allows you to plan and manage your cash flow. So BigChange Fuel is just one of the things under the extra banner, and it goes perfectly with BigChange Fleet, of which we released which we released last quarter. So for those that are interested in this, and I've had a quick look at the chat, and I can see there is a huge amount of interest in this already. So you do not need to wait for anything to happen. If you click on the little 3 dots in the top right-hand side, you will be presented with the BigChange Extra menu. You click on the Fuel button, and you will be taken to a page that looks like this, very similar to the page that looks like that. At the bottom, there is a green button, and you pop in your details. If you pop in your details, someone from Right Fuel will give you a call. If you want to pick up the phone right now, well, don't, please, because I would like you to finish watching this webinar. But after the webinar, if you would like to pick up the phone, you can call them. However, you must mention you are a customer of BigChange. If you do not mention you are a customer of BigChange, they are likely to sign you up, and you are likely to see that monthly card fee appear on your statement. If you mention you're from BigChange customer, you will not be paying that monthly card fee. So it's really important that you either sign up from the steps that I showed you before, or you phone them up and you mention you're a BigChange customer. So that is available from today. Anyone who is looking to sign up can do so. And we would love to hear the testimonials from you guys as well. You too could be like, and I'm scrolling down, you too could be like Mark, saving over £400 a week just from speaking to them. And that £400 a week can go to something much more important than fuel. It can go towards growing your business. So Picking up the phone does not cost anything. You can speak to them. They will run through the numbers and let you know if you're going to save money. So we're going to have a look at some of the items which are in closed beta. Again, if you want to sign up to these, ask your CS rep or drop it into the chat and the product manager will pick it up. This is perfect for customers who have simple invoicing methods. And we're going to be adding over the next couple of weeks and months some of the functionality which support more complicated invoicing methods as well. So once it's enabled, and again, this has to be enabled on your site, you will have the new nav bar, which looks something like this. And there is a new job finance option. When you click on that, you will be able to pick from the invoicing drop-down. And you'll be greeted with a nice little welcome message, similar to the one that is shown on screen. You can simply press the next button, and it shows this very well presented invoicing screen. You can add your contact. You can add a reference, which is not the invoicing number, and you can easily pick from the date of issue, the due date, and we also have on the right-hand side an activity section. So you can see exactly what has been happening with this financial document over a period of time without jumping to another section. We have made some changes at the top, so you can save and close, and you can also preview. When it comes to adding a new item, we've taken away the 3 different buttons, so we've merged them all together for a better user experience. So now, when it comes to adding and typing, as you can see, I've started to type CCTV. We merged them together, so it searches stock, predefined invoicing items, and everything else together. If you want to type free text, we call this a one-time item, so you can simply add it as well. You can clearly see if I continue to type, this is what happens when we come to add a service. We have various different options, and the predefined invoicing item sets are defined by the from price as well. In this time, we are going to add a one-time only item, and if we happen to miss any items out, we are told about these by the little red box. We're not trying to save and then getting things pop up on screen, which can be quite distracting. We do have some other options at the bottom of the screen, which includes default nominal codes and department codes. And when I press save, it will appear on a list view with drafts awaiting payment and paid invoicing. You have options against each of these financial documents as you would expect to send, preview, download, and assign to job, as well as delete them, but we don't necessarily recommend deleting invoicing. You can email direct from the BigChange system. You can assign them to a job which has got a bit of a refresh as well. You can either add it to an existing job by searching, or you can create a new job, again, from having a bit of a refresh. So that is the new closed beta for finance lines, and I can see that we have had quite a few people jump out and ask for that, so we will be in touch where we can. The next thing in closed beta is around financial lines. And one of the biggest challenges our customers have faced up until now is being able to easily find what they're looking for in job financial line items. If you're anything like us, your jobs or group jobs could look something like this, which is a massive long list of hundreds, if not thousands, of line items. Expenses are mixed up with travel time, job rates are mixed up with free text, etc., etc. And you might have absolutely no idea whether you're making money, whether lines have been invoiced or not. And up until now, there wasn't a better way to show this, but there is. If you want to partake in the closed beta, you can do so, and I will show you what this looked like. So we are against our jobs. If you are part of the closed beta and we've activated this on your account, you will probably see a screen that looks similar to this, and you're thinking it looks exactly the same. Well, it does, because we haven't pressed the little toggle at the top. When we do, some magic will happen. The interface will change and it will look totally different. It will look something like this. First up, we have categorized labor, travel, materials, expenses, and other items. Where we know this information from the past, we will have moved those items over for you. And on the right-hand side, we have a beautiful summary showing you predicted margins, totals for each category, and which documents have been created for invoicing and purchase orders. Let's have a jump in. There is another setting, sorry, I should have said, if you want to change the document, the currency to something else. So for the lines where we didn't know, perhaps they were free text, we have put them in the category of other. And that is a place that you can either keep them or you can change them. So I'm going to change them, and I can do that by clicking on the three dots and clicking change. And we can select multiple checkboxes, and we can move them all in one go. Ooh, is it going to keep me out? I can see a spinning beach ball. Nope, there we go. So, and that gets things moved. So we can also invoice lines for a specific group or a specific type, or lines across multiple types, but I'm going to invoice all of the items to do with labor. So I could either tick each of the checkboxes one by one, or I could check the checkbox at the top, and that will select all of the lines for a specific invoice. What I can then do is at the bottom, I can either change type or create a new financial document. All of the documents are available, but I am going to pick invoice, and the invoice pops up and I can save it. Now, the status column has changed. I can see instantly the things that have been invoiced, and I can see instantly the things that have not been invoiced. So unlike before, you can see with absolute clarity which lines have been invoiced, which have not, so you don't end up invoicing the same thing twice. We also have an update in our document section over here. We can see that one invoice has been created with an amount of £151.20. Some of you will have been thinking, does this work with group jobs? And the answer is yes, it works in precisely the same way. So again, I can see who, I can see in the chat that there is a huge amount of excitement for this. One question was, how do you find out who your customer success representative is, Jenna? If you're unsure, just get in contact with support.bigchange.com and we will let you know who they are. So that is the line items. So really, really excited to see that come out and for people to let us know what they think. Because I know the product team have been working really, really hard on this. And for us to get some feedback on that would be brilliant. The next item is our RESTful API. Now, before we look at what or how useful it is, let's delve into what an API is, because this might actually be really beneficial even if you've never heard of an API before. So I've got an analogy for you. An API is like a waiter in a restaurant. Many of you will have gone to restaurants, some of you even recently, and you can tell the waiter what you want from the menu. That is the API request. And a few moments later, the waiter brings out what you've ordered. That is the response. It allows multiple systems to talk to one another. It's the building blocks of a huge amount of automation. Now, we have our own automation inside BigChange, but some of you might have used automation such as Power Automate from Microsoft, Make, If This Then That, Zapier, and developers can easily build custom automations that connect two APIs together. But some of you at BigChange might be thinking, well, hang on, we have web services. How do they differ? And we still do have web services. So what's the difference between the web services and the new REST API that we are trialing? Well, if we go back to our waiter analogy, with web services, it's like shouting specific instructions across a noisy room. Now, if you've worked on our web services, this might look familiar. You have a list of things that you need to add into that request, and that can get very messy, particularly if you're making a lot of complicated requests. With the REST API, there's a clearly organized menu with sections which represent specific endpoints, and you simply ask for a particular dish, and that has all of the information that you need for the waiter to bring it to you. There are a huge number of other benefits, which you can see on screen, but your developers will know precisely the benefits of using a RESTful API over legacy web services, and I'm sure they would be excited to try this. We do have some documentation available. If you want to read that before you request to sign up to the closed beta, that is available at developers.bigchange.com. If you want to see the API reference, that is also on the developers portal, but the QR code on screen will take you precisely to that location. So hopefully we have some excitement for the API. If you want to speak to us about the API, there is also a developers Discord channel, so head over to that. So let's now move on to the stuff that is in open beta. Open beta is stuff that is available on all of our sites, or all of your sites, without contacting us. So let's dive into the first item, which is purchase invoicing. Now, we've been working on purchase invoicing for quite a while, and whilst there is still quite a bit of work that we need to do, we've got enough functionality that we think you'll be able to get significant benefit from. So whilst it's still a work in progress, you can start to use it, and you can let us know the things that are working great and the things that you would like to see. So the first stop in creating a purchase invoice is by creating a purchase order. So here we're going to have a purchase order created, and I'm going to press save. We can mark it as sent to the supplier, which will happen automatically if you're emailing it using BigChange. And when we've done that, you'll notice that we have a new invoice button. He says, where is it? Where's the invoicing button? Oh, there it is. Can't see it on my screen. Over there we go. A purchase invoicing button, which will take us to the purchase invoicing section. If you don't click on that button and you open up the purchase order, you can then select the invoicing tab. Both of you will get to the exact same screen. If you haven't created a purchase invoicing yet, you get a little notification, and you can click on the button to create your first purchase invoice. And this will take you to the newly designed screen that we saw before with our basic invoicing. You can add the invoice number, you can change quantities, pricing, you can add additional items, because those may well differ to the actual things that you created the purchase order for. You can then approve it for payment, and that will go against your purchase invoicing item. And if you have Sage or Xero, it will sync across with them as well. We also have in open beta a new scheduling all item, which is absolutely fantastic. Some of you may have seen this before on other webinars. If you haven't seen it, I make no apologies for going through it, because it is absolutely fantastic. So from the scheduling side, we head over to our list view and we select multiple jobs. We can select just a few of them, or we can select all of them in a single go. We then hand over to the selected jobs, and we click on the necessary option of schedule jobs. We're presented with a window, and there are various items that you can filter down if you wanted to just allocate them to a specific resource or group of resources or a specific date range. But the one mandatory field is a contact. And the reason why we have that is because not all resources have a fixed location. So I generally just put in the head office, because that's where the majority of resources will start from. Once we've done that, we press optimize, and it goes away in the background, and you may well get something like this. It advises you of the jobs that cannot be included within that. On the screen, there are reasons as to why it might be able to be included. For example, it doesn't match constraints. It requires vehicle attributes that aren't available given the time frame. Or it might be outside of regions that are supported by this route optimizer. You can copy those to the clipboard, or you click on the link to open up the job in full. Again, if I wanted to copy them to the clipboard, there is a button here, and you can work through them from an Excel spreadsheet. When you're happy, you can press the optimized schedule button, and it will go away and think about it. It will only take a matter of moments before you're presented with a beautifully designed screen that shows the routes it suggests. At this moment, we have not scheduled the jobs. Okay, these are still being they're held in a kind of limbo state for you to review. We have a range of colors on this map, and those colors match those down the left-hand side. We can see the table shows the job count, the driving distance, the driving durations, etc. And if we wanted to, we can view a specific route in more detail simply by clicking on it. That will show us the jobs. In this case, we're looking at Joshua's schedule in more detail. And again, the map has updated to show the stops in the order that it is proposed that he takes. Here are the jobs that cannot be optimized. Any jobs that have already been scheduled would have a little asterisk next to them. So we are back on the overview tab. And again, they have not been optimized at this point. They've not been scheduled, I should say. That will only happen when I press the save button down here. The save button will get, you'll get a little confirmation. If you want to back out of it at this point, you can click no. But if you click yes, it will tell you that things are being processed and then things appear on the schedule as if by magic. So absolutely fantastic. Really great way of scheduling thousands of jobs in a single button press or two. Next up, something that you can play with today, right after today's webinar, is BigChange Express. Now, many of you will have been familiar with the JobWatch Express app. That had been around for quite a few years. In fact, I joined BigChange nearly 8 years ago, and I remember it being here. We've added a few improvements over that period of time, but it's needed a bit of love. JobWatch Express was the perfect tool. Well, I say perfect. It could have done a bit of love, but it was a perfect tool at the start for business owners to manage, business owners and managers to see job progression and tracking data whilst on the move. Since it was created, new technologies have emerged, which have allowed us to build a brand new version of JobWatch Express from the ground up. We're calling it BigChange Express because we want to, in the fullness of time, add more functionality to it than we could ever do possible with the JobWatch Express app. So it takes advantage of new web technology. So it works on any device of any size. And I'm going to show you it on an iPhone, but it works beautifully on an iPad. It works beautifully on any Android device that you may have. And it also will work on a desktop computer if you want. So the website that you need to head over to is express.bigchange.com. I'm going to keep the QR code on the bottom left-hand side of the screen, which you can scan. The thing that you will need is an active web user license to get access to it. So if you scan the QR code on screen, it should take you to something that looks like that. You enter in your username and password, and if you provide an invalid password, it will tell you. Once you have signed in with a successful username and password, and you have a license, it will give you a set of instructions as to how you can install this web application on your mobile phone. Now, these will differ from device to device, depending on whether you are on an iOS or Android device. But I do recommend that you follow this prompt to install the app on your screen, and it will behave from that point on exactly like any app that you would download from the App Store or Play Store. We have started by replicating the functionality which we had in the old JobWatch Express app, but we have made it even more beautiful than it was before. We have widgets on screen in the dashboard, similar to the previous version, showing you all of the data that you need. You can navigate previously, as well as get to our extra offering direct pages. So let's take a look at the tracking side first. As before, you can change between vehicles and resources, and you can scroll through those that you have in your system, and that is based on the last location, date, and time. You can also search by tapping on the magnifying glass at the top right, but I'm going to tap on a particular resource, and that will zoom you in to that particular spot. As before, you could have a look at jobs. Again, you can use the magnifying glass at the top right to search, but we've improved the filtering options by having more clarity on screen like that. When you view a job, you have all of the information that you saw previously, as well as the ability to view the job card. So BigChange Express is available today. Head over to express.bigchange.com to sign up. So the last feature that I want to show you today. Last time we did this webinar, we did a little bit of teasing in that we were going to announce something huge, and it got a huge amount of excitement. It was, of course, BigChange Dashcams. The Dashcam has been something that we have been working on for a while now. And what I didn't tell you at the time was that the Dashcams that we have been looking at include AI, and they seamlessly work with the BigChange platform. It's the feature which a lot of you have been waiting for. And I'm really excited to show you something in action. So whilst this video doesn't have any sound, this is going to guide you through precisely how the BigChange camera works, how you can see the events, how they're categorized, and how you can download the recordings as well. And you will see Katrina driving. It claims that she's tailgating. I don't think she was tailgating. I think she was driving exceptionally safely, but we manually flagged this as tailgating, so we had something to show you. Sometimes she sings in the car, but we didn't capture that. So as you can see, we're categorizing the events as the camera sees them. There is no need for you to manually disconnect the camera from the car. There is no need for you to unplug cards and put them into computers. All of the video footage is seamlessly integrated into the BigChange system, and you can access it through the map. Now, this is currently in open beta, and we have some customers already trialing it. If there are any of you who are currently trialing it in the chat, do let us know what you think. The question that you also might be thinking about, okay, well, this is great that it's in open beta, but when are you going to make this available for purchase? Now, we do have a date. We are aiming for the 29th of July. That might be a bit sooner. It also might be a tiny bit later, but we are aiming for the 29th of July. That is 19 days away. We anticipate demand for these cameras to be exceptionally high. So within these 19 days, talk it through with whoever it needs to be talked through with as to whether this is something you are interested in, so that when we do launch it, you can be first in line to speak about these cameras. We are really, really excited about these cameras, and we've seen some amazing footage come in. We've had some amazing examples of where the Dashcam has been invaluable in insurance claims. So do talk this through internally so that when we launch it, you will be first in line. So those are the items which we have. I am going to try one last time to launch a survey. If I can't launch this survey, I'm going to ask you one question, and I would love it if you can put the answer in the chat. Let's see if I can get the surveys working. No, it won't let me do the survey, which is incredibly upsetting, but hey ho. So on a scale of 1 to 5, I would like to know, and you can put this in the chat, on a scale of 1 to 5, how valuable did you find this webinar? 5 being amazingly valuable, 1 being not particularly valuable. So answers in the chat, just a single digit would be absolutely brilliant. And I'm seeing a lot of 5s, which I really love. If you want to add a bit more context to anything, that is also great, but giving us the answer in the chat is fabulous. So I can't do the survey, but whilst you're giving us your numbers in the chat, which is making a lot of noise for people who've got the sound enabled, but it's a good noise, I will talk through the future events that we have coming up at BigChange. We have done a handful, I think we've done 4, possibly 5, 15-minute lunch and learn webinars. The next one, which is tomorrow, hopefully I'll have the poll working by then, is on keeping your system secure. So a lot of you have a huge amount of data in BigChange and you want to know how to keep it secure. So join us tomorrow for a 15-minute lunch and learn survey, lunch and learn webinar. You can eat your sandwiches, you can eat your crisps. You are on mute, so you can eat as much noisy food as you like whilst you watch this webinar. But it is absolutely fantastic, so don't miss that. We have also announced that the final webinar of the series before we take a short summer break will be on data and reporting. So we will be covering how to use the BigChange data and how to get the most out of the reporting on the 18th of July between 12:30 and 1:45. The Lunch and Learn series has all been recorded, so if you have missed anything, scan the QR code on screen or head over to our YouTube channel and you will be able to watch all of the videos that we have done. We have already covered alerts, speedy shortcuts, the map, scheduling secrets, and as I mentioned, we have keeping your system secure and data and reporting. Those Lunch and Learn sessions are headed up by me. So if you want to head a session where you don't hear a lot of my voice, you will want to join the webinar on the 24th of July. That is conducted by my colleagues in the support team. They will be showing you templates. Templates are absolutely fabulous and they extend above emails and Word. So you won't want to miss out on that. That is on the 24th of July and that is a feature length webinar between 11 and 12. We love to see our customers in person as well as have you join us for virtual events. We have 2 customer growth events coming up. We actually have more because we're going to be moving to a monthly basis. But the next 2 which we have dates for are on the 6th and 7th of August and the 3rd and 4th of September. You can see some quotes from the people who have attended the last one. If you want to get in touch with louise.stone@bigchange.com, you can do so and she will let you know when the next event is that we have space for. If you don't want to email Louise, you can message me on LinkedIn or you can get in contact with Louise on LinkedIn, but Louise is the person that you need to speak to for that. Finally, we have the newsletter. Now, we filmed the July newsletter about an hour and a half ago, but if you want to have a look at the June newsletter, you can do so by clicking on scanning the QR code on screen. So I am going to stop sharing my screen and ask, do we have any questions that have not been answered, product team? I see some shaking heads. No questions that we haven't managed to answer. The product team have been absolutely fantastic then. Fantastic. No other questions. Just having a quick look. No other questions. So this webinar will be appearing on our YouTube channel shortly. Until next time, I hope to see many of you tomorrow. I don't know what question I'm going to ask. Hopefully it will be, are England going to win the Euros? Hopefully they will win tonight. If they do, that will be tomorrow's question. If not, I will have to think of another question. So on behalf of the rest of the product team, I'd really like to giving up your time today, and we hope to see you next quarter for the Q3 Innovate webinar. Thank you for your time, guys, and we will speak soon.